All right. So this term moksha, it existed in ancient Kemet and ancient Egypt before it got philosophized in India. And it wasn't necessarily uh it was a way of life in Kemet. Like everything that they did was built around this idea of liberation. So it was a state of being and the freedom from the unconscious existence. And basically it was this they were taking memory through death, dissolving the false self, restoring that union with the absolute. And this idea of moksha, although it's moving through cultures from Kemet to India, it doesn't belong to either. It's just a way of life. So like I said, everything in Kemet, from the rites to the temples to the myths, were all dedicated to that purpose of taking the consciousness through death. And this was the foundation of Kemet. Like, it wasn't just an abstract idea. You know, it was about transforming the soul, and the aim was not necessarily heaven, but it was becoming an Ach. And an Ach is a fully awakened being that existed beyond just the body. And to get that, there was integration required. The integration of your vital forces, of your essence, and of your awareness. So many of you are familiar with the weighing of the heart. But this weighing of the heart isn't necessarily determining like what punishment you're going to get or anything. It's just measuring like your consciousness and determine where you need to go to your next level. It was basically weighing like how much of the illusion you were in versus how much of the truth you were in. And the lighter your heart is will depend on how much you continue on your journey, or what level you continue your journey on. So it wasn't about sin, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't about this idea of sin. It was about ignorance. And ignorance is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not a good thing. Ignorance is just you not knowing something. You know what I'm saying? It's different from stupidity. Stupidity is knowing something but still choosing to do the opposite thing. Like, if you don't know, you just don't know. So the way that you knew how free you were was basically on the weight of your heart. And so this idea of Osiris was more than somebody that was just to be worshipped. He was more like a mat, if you look at the story. And if you look at the stages that the story represented, it's basically like the ego dying, you know, the dismemberment of the false identity, and the resurrection of the awareness to truth. So the end wasn't necessarily death, but it was unawareness. Because if you're aware, if you're fully conscious, you can take that through death. But if you're not, then you gotta keep repeating these cycles until you reach that full awareness. So the sacred knowledge was the key, and that included things like names, that included remembrance, and certain pathways. So this was the key to remaining conscious when your form dissolves. You know what I'm saying? So this wasn't necessarily faith, but it was gnosis. So later on, this whole system became what we know in India as moksha. You know, it was basically philosophized and then systemized. So they basically took non-duality, or that oneness, or that absoluteness, and they philosophized it, basically made a system out of it. But as we just talked about, it existed in Kemet in Egypt before that. So they lived it in Kemet, you know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure that they had a system for it, you know what I'm saying? So when they talk about how it got philosophized and systemized in India, I'm pretty sure it was philosophized and systemized before that, you know what I'm saying? So but the point is, even though it's different symbols and it's different language, the idea of liberation is still the same. You know what I'm saying? That idea of freedom or liberation, it belongs to consciousness. It doesn't necessarily belong to a specific civilization. So before moksha was systemized, it just existed in nature or in the netters and the people that remembered it.